in the squadron. They called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, after all these years, the cops are now on to Eric Swalwell's trail. Now they got him, right? Got to Congress in 2012. Who knew he was such a monster? A total monster on the loose. Becomes the leading candidate for governor of California. Starts to bother a billionaire by the name of Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer is now vying for number one in that governor's race. He just might be the next governor of California. And I think that this was an operation to get Swalwell out of the race. Nobody likes him. He was always annoying. He ran for president in 2019, took on Joe Biden, humiliated Joe Biden, actually right to his face. Right to his face. He said, you're too old for this. You're too old. And I remembered thinking how angry Joe Biden seemed. Joe Biden was on the stage with him. Look, Eric Swalwell, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what. I know that woman yesterday was not credible in my book. People are so angry at me, and I, quite frankly, you got to walk. I'll talk to Flippin about it in a little bit, but I know what it's like to be falsely accused. Wow. And it heightened my discernment. It heightened a lot of things. It was the worst thing that ever happened to me, but also one of the best things that ever happened to me in retrospect. It was a trial. It was adversity. I was accused of a horrible thing. I had to essentially go into hiding. You know, I had cameras outside my house. I had a lawyer up. I had to do all those things. And, talk to the authorities and had to leave my place of work for a period of time. It was not easy. And the whole world seemed to know everything about my recreational patterns, and it was very, very awkward, embarrassing. People were great, by the way. People were great. People understood. People could see right through it. But false accusations happen, and they leave a mark. And not just on the person falsely accused, by the way. It's like a concentric circle kind of thing. And you remember that, right? So I look at these things, and I look at the CBS Evening News last night, the CBS Evening News, and I'm like, you know what? Something is wrong here. You got these two people, accusers. They call them accusers. You know what they accused him of? Pretty much nothing. It's something else. Everybody ready for this? Are you ready? All right. This is the CBS Evening News. You guys got my CBS Evening News? Good. Let's go ahead and start with that, if you don't mind. Hit it.
2 members of Congress have resigned after separate allegations of sexual misconduct. Texas Republican Tony Gonzalez has admitted to a relationship with a former aide. But California Democrat Eric Swalwell has denied everything but what he calls mistakes in judgment. Our Nancy Cordes spoke with 2 of his accusers.
The reception that we've gotten has been amazing.
Annika Albrecht says she never expected one social media video might lead to this. Eric Swalwell dropping his bid for governor and resigning from Congress, all in the span of 48 hours.
I'm terrified to speak out, which is why it's taken me so long.
You thought you'd get blacklisted from Democratic jobs?
Absolutely.
Stop. So, okay, we're into this piece. A good chunk has gone by. We've heard about accusers, and she says, everybody has been so supportive, and she says, I'm terrified. She's got a big smile on her face when she says she's terrified to come out, okay? I understand. Look, the popular, easy thing for me to do, be jump on the bandwagon. Swalwell is the worst person in the world, and, he's got what was coming to him. He pointed his finger at Trump and all that stuff. This has nothing to do with Swalwell, actually. I don't care about Swalwell. I care about justice. I care about fairness. I care about not joining mobs, and I care about witch hunts, and I don't want to be on a witch hunt, and I cannot not see this with my discernment. All right? This is on the Evening News. Okay. Now, obviously, we have 2 accusers sitting there. The accusations are going to come, right? And they're going to be pretty intense. Let's pick it up, if you don't mind.
Albrecht met Swalwell on a college trip to D.C. 7 years ago. She claims his offers to mentor her quickly turned suggestive.
He invited me to a hotel to meet him. It was very clear what the connotation was.
Ali Samarco claims Swalwell sent her similar messages and a lewd photo 5 years ago.
Stop.
Why do you think?
Okay, just to recap. She says this texts were suggestive. Actually, the anchor said they were suggestive. Meet in a hotel. Meet in a hotel. Doesn't say room, doesn't say bar, doesn't say lobby, doesn't say... And there's a connotation, just a connotation. The other one happened so fast. I had to listen to it 3 times. And I know you probably missed it. She received similar texts 5 years ago and a lewd photo. Similar text 5 years ago and a lewd photo. Okay? Pick it up if you don't mind.
Why do you think someone so ambitious would do something this reckless repeatedly?
He thought he was untouchable. He acted with total impunity. He never thought that the consequences of his actions would follow him.
The two had never met until 2 weeks ago when Albrecht urged her close friend Cheyenne Hunt, a Democratic social media creator, to post a video about Swalwell.
You know Eric Swalwell has slept with many of his interns.
It triggered a wave of messages.
One of the first ones who reached out to me disclosed to me that it was a full-on assault.
Stop. Okay, just let's recap here, all right? I know it's almost like an optical illusion what's going on here. It's an optical illusion. They want you to see something that they're not saying. So she speaks very quickly, you may notice, very quickly. I am very happy with how people have been supporting me. I'm terrified about coming out. Suggestive has a connotation. She didn't go to the hotel, by the way. She did not go to the hotel. Suggestive connotation. The other one says suggestive and a lewd picture 5 years ago. Anthony Weiner put out a lewd picture to 3 million of his followers. And we saw the picture, right? I don't know. If this person comes in and says that to me, is pitching a story, I think to myself, do you have the picture? Okay, what did you send him? Okay, now what? All right, so he was sexting you 5 years ago. What are we supposed to do with that right now? Yeah, no, that's not good behavior for a married congressman. Definitely not. But is it front page, kick out of Congress, kick out of the governor's race, have a billionaire take his place, all of these things? Now, I know there are more serious allegations, but these are the women that we got right there. There are 2 women, and then the third woman isn't an accuser. She just says she heard from somebody else that she was assaulted. Hearsay, right? I mean, it's a little bit bizarro world. It's a little bit, someday we're going to look at this. This is not remotely fair. And I don't care if it's Swalwell. I don't care if it's your enemy. I don't care if it's your friend. I saw the women survivors of President Trump, right? I saw them paraded out on television. I said the same thing then for my friend. I'm going to say the same thing now for my enemy. I'm sorry. And if you can't see that this is a total hit job and totally politically manufactured fake, well, we're coming from different places. I know that there are victims of sexual violence, and that is a horrible, horrible, horrible thing, and it's bad, and it's horrific, and it's probably the worst thing. But somebody being on the front of the evening news saying, I got texted suggestive text messages 7 years ago. The other one said, I received a photo 5 years ago. Is that breaking news? Would Walter Cronkite have these people on his set talking to them? All right, pick it up. Now we're going to go to the more serious one, which I watched yesterday, and also I'm sorry, I got creepy vibes. I did from her. Pick it up.
Another woman accused him of rape just today.
I believe he drugged my drink.
Former model Lana Drews alleges that it happened at an LA event in 2018.
When I arrived at his hotel room, I was already incapacitated and I couldn't move my arms or my body.
Swalwell has denied the assault allegations.
They're absolutely false.
Stop.
They did not happen.
Second, please. Stop. So it's just, again, they gloss over a lot of things there. I watched the whole press conference, about 8 minutes long. She's a mess. She she seems to me like a crazy person. And you could say, well, that has nothing to do with anything. Fine. What evidence do you have? Your story itself is incredibly flawed. The whole thing about, okay, he was a political friend. She talks about running for office. She kept quiet because she didn't want to upset her political chances. It just doesn't make sense. And oh, by the way, this is a married man. You say he's a married man. You say you have no interest in him romantically. You went up to his hotel room. Now, you don't do that. You just don't do that. You're on your way to an event, and she said she's already drinking on the way to the event. You drink maybe at the event. There's something wrong. You got to use your God-given common sense. I'll wait for you in the lobby, Eric. Mr. Congressman, I'll wait for you in the lobby. Also, your alarm bell should be going off. Wait, why is this congressman interested in hanging around with me? Right? I'm sorry, but those are obviously more. And at that press conference, she still hadn't gone to the cops. Now she's at the cops. Now she tells her story. I got a problem with that too. Now pick it up, because we're going to go back to those two women in the front who said they're victims and accusers. They received suggestive text messages 5 to 7 years ago. Can you imagine the horror? Pick it up, please.
They're absolutely false. They did not happen.
Though he admits he made mistakes in judgment.
What I keep thinking back to is how lucky I am that I didn't go to that hotel. Because I think of the other women in the stories and what he could have done to me.
The Manhattan DA's office has confirmed that they are investigating another allegation of sexual assault at a hotel in New York. Late this afternoon, Swalwell's lawyers accused these women of being part of a political hit job. But the ones we spoke to said their only goal here was to stop this from happening again. Tony.
Nancy Cordes for us. Nancy, thank you very much.
Now, the way our society is set up, nobody can tell these women, cut the crap, right? You didn't want this to happen to other women. Why'd you keep your mouth shut for 7 years, 5 years, 8 years? And now you're what are you, wounded little lambs? What's wrong with you? How about the two who just got text messages? And now I don't buy it. I don't think our grandparents or parents would. I know that we are evolved in some ways socially, right? There are things happening now that are good and things that used to happen that are bad that we don't do anymore, right? All right. Comments that are were made, aren't made anymore. And there are certain safeguards in society, hopefully. But at the same time, I think we still have like truth, justice, common sense, reasonableness. If I hear one more person tell me, oh, she seemed very credible. She wouldn't answer any questions. The 8-year thing is a huge problem. Going to the hotel room is a huge problem. She was an actress and a model with political ambitions, right? That's a kind of a toxic little mixture right there. It is. And I am skeptical, and you're still allowed to be in the United States. You'd be surprised how many people won't touch this story because they don't want the whiff of, oh, yeah, well, maybe you. Well, I've already been through the maybe you. All right. I know what that feels like. I know what that is. It can't hurt me anymore. I don't care. All right. You can post all day long about the New York Post headline and the Daily News headline from 2012 or the ABC News story or that time that I was walking out of Fox 5 and they took my picture and all that crap. It doesn't bother me. I mean, actually, it doesn't bother me. It's part of me. Yeah. What bothers me a little bit is somebody thinking that it bothers me, but whatever. When I see that, it's like a victory. It's kind of like a victory because they tried to kill me and they didn't. They tried to take my freedom and they couldn't. And that was an amazing moment, an amazing time. It was the worst day in my life, but it was also the best day in my life, really. Never before had I been so overwhelmed by the truth and by the love of my family, friends. By the way, back to family, cousins, aunts and uncles. You don't always keep up with your cousins, right? All that stuff. And regular everyday people. I felt the love of God and I felt the love of people. And it was really something else. And I made wise decisions during that process. All right. And it was a process. And it did leave a mark, both reputationally, certainly social media, and psychologically. But that's okay. These things happen. You know, when we're born, we get a suit of armor, hopefully, or we're equipped with a suit of armor, right? It's like a kid with a football uniform on. You're going to get dirty. You're going to get hit, but you got that protection. And I learned a hell of a lot. I felt sorry for myself for a long time. I felt like a victim. And I was the victim of a false allegation. And that is a grade A sin, by the way, that was perpetrated against me. But I am not a victim, all right? I'm stronger, and I'm glad. I learned so much. Peace be to all. Be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So this Maria Bartiromo, great person. She's like the personal biographer of President Trump. It's amazing. They have a connection. By the way, Maria Bartiromo was considered for vice president of the United States. Numerous, it's been documented. It's been in some books. I don't think people knew it during the campaign of 2024. But at one point, President Trump was set on picking Maria Bartiromo for his vice president. And I think she would have been great. He did very well with J.D. Vance. But how about that, huh? President Bartiromo. It could have happened. Vice President Bartiromo, President Bartiromo. But no, it was maybe another day. Do we have? Yes, we do. This is Maria, Mornings with Maria, with President Trump this morning on the whole Iran situation. And things are looking up. Go ahead.
1 mine, 2 mines, 10 mines. And that will, if you have a ship that costs $1 billion, you say, well, you know, I prefer not getting whacked by a mine, losing my ship, or damaging it badly, at least. And so that's a little bit of a thing that they can do. That it's military might and military power don't do it, but, you know, it's extortion, and they're extorting the world. You know, we don't get our oil from there. We have so much oil. We have, and one thing you said is, I don't know if anybody heard it well, but we have boats pouring up to the United States. They'll be filling them up, and they'll be leaving, and they're going to be packed with the best oil you can get. Light, sweet crude. They're going to have the best oil that you can get. But so that's interesting, and it's great because we have a lot of oil. We don't get any. I mean, literally last year it was 1%. We did that as a favor. We don't need the Strait. But other countries do. And I will tell you, while we're on the subject, we're very disappointed with NATO. We're very, very disappointed that they didn't come. Now they want to come and they want to help with the Strait, and it won't take long to clean it out. So we're going to clean out the Strait, and they'll be able to use the Strait in not too long a distance.
Okay. Not exactly groundbreaking from the president. I would like to hear a little bit from Maria. You know, she had some great questions, too. I guess the big takeaway is he thinks that this thing is going to be over soon. There's that. He's very confident in that. Now, I've heard him. Some people complain. They've heard similar. No, I think this is real. This sounds. You can just feel it. You can feel it. What can we feel from all this way away? Yeah, we can pick up things. We can. You get that vibe? I do. All right, we have the next one. This is Maria speaking to the president.
President, thank you for sitting down with us. We appreciate it. You've had a real reaction to the blockade. Are you happy with the reaction since you put this blockade in place in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, it's been pretty amazing, actually. I thought that was going to happen. They reacted to this even, I think, we've obliterated them. And this almost seems to be more of a reaction than we had before. So we'll see. I mean, look, it only matters the end result. And we're doing very well.
How does that change the dynamic of this meeting with President Xi?
I don't think it does. I mean, he's somebody that needs oil. We don't. He's somebody I get along with very well. He just wrote me a beautiful letter.
He wrote you a letter?
Yeah, he did. He responded to a letter that I wrote because I had heard that China is giving weapons to, you're seeing it all over the place, to Iran, that China's
Did he
giving
say he's
weapons.
giving them?
Yeah, and I wrote him a letter asking him not to do that. And he wrote me a letter saying that essentially he's not doing that.
All right.
And
so
you know what? I'm very happy. And it's going to come dropping down very big as soon as it's over. And I think it can be over very soon.
So
if they're smart, it will end soon.
How about that? Hey, how about this, by the way? I put out a video, and President Trump put the video out on his Truth Social. How about that? Very cool. He put it out. I'm looking at it right now. Forget Maria Bartiromo. The president is talking about my journalism. And basically, I did this whole thing on video about how a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting its boots on. And and it was basically about the impeachment back in 2019. What went down? It's so interesting that Truth Social. I wish more people looked at Truth Social. Everybody looks at Truth Social. What did the president say? But he promoted my own stuff here. And that's actually very cool. I love it. I started with a great big look at the world. And then I made that Mark Twain observation. And then I pointed out that the president was impeached on December 18th of 2019. And it was all nonsense. It was all stupid. It was all terrible. They made it up. The deep state made it up. Nobody even remembers. But there was a 21-day trial in the United States Senate because he reacted to something he saw in public. Joe Biden yelling and screaming about how he turned off the funding for Ukraine unless they fired the prosecutor who was looking into Burisma, where Hunter Biden was making $83,000 a month. That was corrupt right there. Asking somebody to look into it, that's not corrupt. Asking, it was a coup. And there I am. Pretty cool. Well, thank you, Mr. President. I got to tell my friends. Get my wife on the phone. The president watched, and he does watch. He's a fan of WABC, as you know, a fan of Sid, a fan of John Catsimatidis. Those guys go way, way back. And what a privilege. You know, this is an interesting time to be alive. And, you know, I say how I feel. The other thing I did in the video last night, I complained that we have not heard from anybody in the administration other than President Trump. I think we should hear from people in the Pentagon about the blockade. And so far, we haven't. We've seen little cute texts from Admiral Cooper, right? But what about Storm and Norman giving the mother of all briefings? They sent out a 25-year-old girl to talk about it. I love President Trump. 95% of the time, I agree with him. The other 4% of the time, I defer. I say he's got information that I don't have, so I'm not going to, the 1% of the time where it's like, not only do I disagree, but I have information that maybe he doesn't have, half the time I will shoot my mouth off and say something about it. Half the time I won't out of a certain level of respect, or maybe it's not important enough. I couldn't believe it. All of Trump's supporters, right? Every person out there who had any kind of a platform, like Riley Gaines, came out and opposed him on the AI image, the image of him looking like a doctor, he says, or looking like Jesus, right? And they say, how dare he do such a thing? I'm like, are you crazy? Cut the man some slack. You never hear that phrase anymore. Nobody cuts anybody some slack. Cut him some slack. He's been through a lot. I hear all the time about PTSD. Maybe he has some PTSD. Being arrested all over the country, being shot, right? That leaves a mark. Here I am moaning and crying about something bad that happened to me in 2012. A 2-week ordeal. I wasn't even arrested, for crying out loud. And this guy, what he's been through, nobody could do it other than him. So thank you, Mr. President. That's very, very cool. And it comes from the heart. It really does. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. Excuse me, but I've got to call my wife. Be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right. Awesome, guys. Van Halen. It's interesting. We don't have any bands anymore. We basically don't have any bands. Growing up, we had bands. Not that long ago, we had bands. Now you have, you don't need bands. You need, solo artists. It's all about solo artists. I guess it's cheaper, right? You don't have to pay everybody. And those bands were, part of it was luck, They just, they all happen to live on the same block. One guy had talent. The other guys were decent enough. And I think they said, why am I, sharing all this money with a band? I could be a superstar by myself. And, am I right, Lou? Can you think of any big bands right now? I mean, isn't it all kind of solo stuff?
You got the Foo Fighters, you got the Strokes.
Those guys, haven't they been around for like a long time though? They're kind of, they're no new big bands.
But they're still around.
Are there any new big bands?
Oh, I'd have to dig into my brain for a little bit.
Right. Like, and meanwhile, every 10 seconds there's a new singer. The latest one I'm hearing about is Zara Larsson from Sweden. And she sings some decadent song that I found my daughter singing the other day. She's 6 years old. She already knows about Taylor Swift. How the hell did that happen? I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that at all. Sometimes I think we should go off and live in Amish country. I really, the corrupt world, it is corrupt, very, very thoroughly corrupt. And once you understand that, it actually becomes a little bit easier to manage. I'm not as irate and appalled by all these things that are coming from, whether it's institutions or people or whatever. I mean, the people are sinful. The only hope we have is from God, is from Jesus, really, I believe. And this whole idea, I'm a good person. I just try to be a good person. I'm spiritual, not religious. Yeah, good luck with that one, because you're sinful like I am. All right, left to your own devices, you're going to screw up like I did, like I do, actually. You need him, capital H. And it's all there available to each and every one of us in the Bible. And if you wanted, if you need like training wheels like I did, I picked up that Charles Stanley Life Principles Bible with the little footnotes. And yes, I know sometimes I say things that you may think, are totally at odds. No, they're not. But sometimes, I slip up all the time. But that whole thing about being critical and stuff like that. And I'm a critic. I mean, I can be pretty vicious on Twitter and stuff like that, but it's from truth, and it's also from love. I love my enemies genuinely. And sometimes I would like to know more about that in the Bible. They said it's the worst thing you can do. You know what we should do is have Jonas come in here soon. He knows the Bible through and through. I'm still learning. And it's a beautiful syllabus. We are going to be in trouble when we don't have columnists like Michael Goodwin around anymore. Michael Goodwin is one of the most talented writers, thinkers, guardians of decency. Michael Goodwin, Post, socialist boy wonder Mamdani has learned next to nothing in his first 100 days as mayor of New York City. The slow education of Mayor Zohran Mamdani is painful to watch, especially for those New Yorkers forced to pick up the tab for his willful ignorance. His first 100 days in City Hall have come and gone, but the Nepo baby appears to have learned next to nothing, at least when it comes to dollars and cents, S-E-N-S-E, common sense. The socialist boy wonder ran and won on a campaign of extensive wish lists. Yeah, all that crap, huh? Decorated with fanciful promises of free this and free that. Anyone not born yesterday knew he was selling snake oil, but he proved to be a generational political talent and played the Pied Piper to the young and ideologically blinded followers who turned out for him in droves. Since he took the oath, there have been only occasional signs that he realizes the job is more complicated than concocting campaign videos you can dance to. Ideologue. Thankfully, one of those areas where he has seen some light involves the NYPD. Okay, here we go. Yeah, you're getting fooled on this one. Jessica Tisch, all that stuff. No. You're buying all this stuff about crime. You got to be skeptical, Michael, okay? Skeptical. Here we go, though. The low point in Mamdani's term so far came when his foolish refusal to dismantle ragged street encampments led to at least 20 people dying from hypothermia in February alone. The Grim Reaper toll reflects his rookie determination to reinvent the wheel on long-settled issues. Mayors of all political stripes have been following a practice begun by Ed Koch nearly 50 years ago of forcibly taking homeless people off the streets during freezing temperatures if they refuse to go voluntarily. But Mamdani's claimed compassion for the rights of the homeless turned out to be a death sentence for those who are not capable of making the life-saving choice to go inside. The arrogance that he alone knows what's best also lies at the heart of his economic agenda, which promises to level the playing field by doling out oodles of free stuff. Two early examples illustrate his magical thinking is already crashing into the harsh reality of the bottom line. The first mashup came when Mamdani announced the 4,000 square foot site in the David Dinkins Municipal Building would be the city's first free childcare center. Free, of course, is a political term of art. It will cost at least $10 million to renovate the site, with the opening slated for the fall, when the center will become the daytime home of 40 children from 6 weeks to 3 years old, with their parents being city workers in the area. On top of the rehab cost, the annual operating cost is projected to be $2.3 million, which translates into $57,000 a year for each of the 40 children. Meanwhile, the cost of private childcare is less than half that, with examples ranging from $23,000 to $26,000. The whopping difference is further proof that government is the least efficient operation under the sun, and that a free program is extremely expensive for the taxpayers, us. A similar reality is coming into focus as Mamdani moves to deliver on his promise to open a government-owned grocery store in each of the 5 boroughs. The first will be built on city land in East Harlem at a projected cost of $30 million for a 9,000 square foot facility. It is not expected to open for shoppers until sometime in 2029. The timetable illustrates why moving at government speed is a private sector punchline. The high cost for construction of the store is far out of line, given that the mayor has budgeted $70 million for capital costs at all 5 facilities. The City Hall press release about the project is a full leftist mumbo-jumbo about economic justice and the evil of private corporations. It says, without a touch of irony, that the city-owned grocery initiative is designed to lower costs on everyday staples by using public ownership to eliminate costs that are currently passed on to the consumers. By avoiding costs that are normally passed on in prices, the mayor obviously meant rent, taxes, complying with government mandates, and a profit. He blames the high cost of staples on private companies that control every part of the food supply chain, and promises that a public option allows us to intervene where the market has failed. This reminds me of Kamala Harris and price inflation. You know what she thought that was the source of price inflation? Gougers by supermarket people. The supermarket owners were gouging. And as Attorney General, I fought that. I fought that. City Council member Yusuf Salaam. Oh my gosh, it really is something that this guy's in the City Council. You know who Yusuf Salaam is, right? He's one of the Central Park 5. He took a metal bar into Central Park that night in April of 1989. What is that, 37 years ago this month? He was convicted. There was a lot of evidence. Well, what about the other person who actually confessed? You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I love talking about the Central Park 5 with people. They know nothing. He was exonerated. DNA evidence. Shut up with your DNA evidence. They knew about the DNA evidence in 1989. Those guys got the punishment they deserved. And the idea that verdict was vacated, you just gave in. Rafael Ramos, you took him at his word. Oh yes, he was very, very particular. When he raped people, he only raped them by himself. You care to put him on the stand? Let's put him on the stand and cross-examine that. Because he didn't only rape people by himself. Like the time he raped his mother. He did it with his buddies. Yeah, he did that. This is the kind of guy you threw out all that work and you tried to ruin the reputations of good people. Linda Fairstein, Elizabeth Lederer, the prosecutors, and that grotesque TV show by Netflix. Some say, some see us as they see us. They don't see us. I don't care. It stunk. Not only was it a great big lie, it stunk as television. I tried to watch it. I couldn't. You know, everybody in that park that night, well, they're just out for some fun. It was those silly white people who were just scared at the sight of a black person. Oh, those silly white people. All right. I digress. Back to Yusef Salaam. City Council member Yusef Salaam sets the bar even higher, declaring he rode that damn case he made millions and millions of dollars and became a city council member. And you watch, he's going to run for mayor. And, one of these days I got to talk to Tricia Mealy. She's the victim. She was the victim of the Central Park. And she knows that one person wasn't responsible for what happened to her. The doctors who treated her know that one person didn't do that. They know that she was gang raped. They know. I know. I've seen the confessions. I've seen Yusef Salaam. I've seen Corey Wise. I've seen Raymond Santana. I've seen Kevin Richardson. I know what they said. I know that their parents were in the room. It's unbelievable what people don't know, and then they dine out on that, and then suddenly it becomes toxic and dangerous to speak the truth. Yeah, good luck with that one on me. Yusef Salaam sets the bar even higher, declaring that food is a basic human right, and no one should have to work more than one job to afford to put dinner on the table. By the way, Linda Fairstein saved so many lives. You know, she basically invented the sex crimes unit. Right? Before she came along, it was like lumped in with everything else. And there are particular sensitivities and accommodations that have to be made for the victims of sexual violence. It's not like a regular crime when you get your purse snatched or even if you get stabbed in the gut. It's different. And it's traumatic. Crime is traumatic, but there's a special kind of trauma associated. And she started the Special Victims Unit and the Sex Crimes Unit. And it's just amazing to me that they canceled her. So there are some people who have been canceled who have not been reinstated. Good luck trying to find a book by Linda Fairstein. They kicked her off of Amazon at one point. A very talented writer, a pioneer for women and justice. We have one corrupt, crazy world. Don't fall prey and don't become enamored with it. I'm even more and more thankful for this image that President Trump put up of him as whatever figure that was. Was it a doctor? Was it a deity? Whatever, right? It got me thinking and it got me researching. And I picked up a book. It's called Imitation of Christ by Kmis, Kmis. I just started reading it, but my eyes are opening big time. I love what I'm seeing so far. All right, Michael Goodwin, by all means, let's make that a federal law and maybe even amend the Constitution so that no American ever has to work two jobs. Food is a basic right. No one should have to work more than one job to afford to put dinner on the table. That, of course, means for a family of four, right? Those are maybe the one-person job limit could be added to Gotham's sanctuary city provisions. The larger truth at play is that the extravagantly expensive agenda Mamdani is pushing threatens to sink the city's already deeply troubled finances. He inherited a budget deficit that was initially said to go as high as $12 billion over the next 2 fiscal years, but Governor Kathy Hochul funneled some state cash to relieve the pressure. Yet most of what Mamdani has done and proposed so far has further alarmed Wall Street. 3 of the 4 top bond rating agencies reduced their outlook on city finances from stable to negative. That could drive up borrowing costs on city bonds, making it more expensive for the city to issue new debt. The problem has been exacerbated because Mamdani has largely limited his proposed budget fixes to robbing rainy day funds and demanding large income tax hikes, which would need Albany's approval. His alternative, large property tax hikes, could be imposed with council approval. But Hochul, facing a tough re-election campaign, is saying no to the income tax hikes Mamdani wants. Watch your cave. You gotta vote for Bruce Blakeman. I'm talking to him in a little while, by the way. I'm talking to Bruce Blakeman, who I think will be the next governor. I tell you, man, that guy has been reborn, right? That guy, I can see it. I can feel it. The light is inside that man. Most surprising is that city council leaders say the mayor has overlooked chances to trim the workforce and otherwise cut spending to save billions without harming core services or imposing ruinous tax hikes. How these issues are resolved in coming weeks will be crucial for the city's future. The smart way to keep score is that if Mondami wins, New York loses. Amen to the wonderful Michael Goodwin. And I'm also thinking about his amazing wife, the academic who has done tremendous things for students throughout our city. Yeah, very unforgiving. China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. I am doing it for them, also in the world. The situation will never happen again. They have agreed not to send weapons to Iran. President Xi will give me a big fat hug when I get there in a few weeks. We are working together smartly and very well. A big fat hug, President Trump predicts from President Xi. Hey, in a couple of moments, that superstar Caroline Levitt is coming out. I am so relieved. So far, so good on this blockade situation. We can do it. God bless the United States Navy. And it's holding. And it's a wonderful thing. Risk big, win big. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?